The Secret Life of Walter Mitty. Walter Mitty was an ordinary man living an ordinary life. He worked as a middle-aged man as a low-level employee in a publishing company, and his daily routine was quite mundane. However, in his mind, Walter was anything but ordinary. He lived a secret life full of adventure and excitement, where he was the hero of his own story. One day, as Walter was running errands for his wife, he found himself lost in a daydream. In his imagination, he was a heroic Navy pilot flying through stormy skies to save his crew from danger. When he snapped back to reality, he realized he had forgotten to buy the item his wife had sent him to the store for. This was a common occurrence for Walter. He would get lost in his own thoughts, daydreaming about his secret life. Later that day, Walter's wife asked him to go to the hair salon to pick up her hairpins. On the way there, he imagined himself as a brilliant surgeon performing a life-saving operation on a famous diplomat. He was so engrossed in his daydream that he missed the salon entirely and ended up at the train station. At the station, Walter saw a beautiful woman wearing a fur coat and carrying a small dog. In his mind, he imagined himself as a dashing detective, rescuing the woman from a group of dangerous criminals. However, the woman's husband arrived, and Walter quickly realized that he was in the wrong place and had to leave. Walter's daydreaming continued throughout the day, with each new experience leading to a new adventure in his mind. He imagined himself as a brilliant scientist, a courageous soldier, and even a daring criminal. However, each time he snapped back to reality, he found himself in the same mundane world he had always known. That night, Walter's wife asked him to repair a gutter on the roof. As he climbed up the ladder, he imagined himself as a fearless mountaineer scaling a treacherous peak. He was so caught up in his daydream that he failed to notice the loose gutter, which fell and hit him on the head. When he woke up, Walter found himself in a hospital bed. His wife was by his side, and he realized that he had been injured in the fall. However, something had changed inside of him. He realized that his secret life was just a way to escape from reality, and that he needed to embrace the world he actually lived in. From that day forward, Walter started to take control of his life. He became more confident and assertive, standing up to his overbearing wife and taking charge of his own destiny. Although he never stopped daydreaming, he found that he no longer needed his secret life to feel fulfilled. The real world had become exciting and adventurous enough on its own. In the end, Walter realized that the secret life he had always longed for was actually within his reach. He just needed to be brave enough to live it. The Lost City of Zalvador. In the heart of the Amazon rainforest, deep in the unexplored reaches of Brazil, there lies a legend of a lost city. The city, named Zalvador, was said to have been built by an ancient civilization, filled with treasures beyond imagination. But for centuries, no one had been able to find it. That was until a young explorer named Marcus decided to take on the challenge. Marcus had always been fascinated by the stories of Zalvador. As a child, he had read every book and listened to every tale about the lost city, dreaming of one day finding it himself. Now, as an adult, he had dedicated his life to exploring the Amazon rainforest, determined to uncover the secrets of Zalvador. For years, Marcus searched for any clue that would lead him to the lost city. He trekked through thick jungles, climbed mountains, and crossed raging rivers. He battled against deadly snakes, insects, and animals that lurked in the darkness of the forest. But despite all his efforts, he could not find Zalvador. One day, as he was resting in his campsite, he met an old indigenous man named Yari. Yari was a member of a tribe that had lived in the Amazon rainforest for generations, and he knew the jungle like the back of his hand. Marcus asked Yari if he knew anything about Zalvador, and to his surprise, Yari nodded his head. Yari explained that his tribe had a legend about Zalvador. According to the legend, the city was located deep in the jungle, protected by magical creatures and traps that had been set up by the ancient civilization. Yari warned Marcus that the journey to Zalvador would not be an easy one, but Marcus was determined to find the lost city, no matter the cost. Together, Marcus and Yari set out on their journey. They traveled for weeks through the jungle, battling against the harsh environment and the dangers that lurked within. They encountered massive waterfalls, poisonous plants, and treacherous terrain. But despite all their struggles, they never lost hope that they would find Zalvador. Finally, after weeks of trekking through the jungle, they stumbled upon a hidden valley. At the center of the valley lay a city unlike any other. Zalvador was a sprawling metropolis, filled with towering temples, palaces, and houses, all made of shimmering gold and silver. As they explored the city, Marcus and Yari discovered that it had been abandoned for centuries. The people who had once lived there were long gone, leaving behind only their treasures and mysteries. Marcus knew that he had achieved his lifelong dream, and he vowed to protect Zalvador from those who would seek to exploit it for their own gain. And so, the legend of the lost city of Zalvador was no longer just a story, but a reality that Marcus had discovered. The city would remain hidden in the heart of the Amazon rainforest, waiting for the next adventurer to uncover its secrets.